This is an intro that was recorded after the video that you're getting ready to see. Here's what happened. I came out to do a brief, sorry, I just climbed a hill. Do a brief discussion on why I chose AEB-L steel, because I'm out here in the rain. And then, in typical Craig Cottle fashion, raw and uncensored, I got excited about being out here and started talking about some fire things, particularly how to source dry material when it's pissing the rain like this. Fantastic reasons to get outside and practice your skills. Use your knife, and actually I start telling you some woodsman skills or sharing woodsman skills, fundamentals that you don't even need a knife for. Why? You don't have to do that, Craig. Yeah, I know. I can't thank you guys enough for buying my knife. Daggone, I can't thank you enough. It's emboldened me to move forward on a lot of other projects, and I appreciate you. So, thanks, enjoy. There's a lot more to come. So the question has been asked, why choose AEB-L steel for the Chamonix? Does that answer your question? Hey, listen, here's how this works. Proper woodsmen, people that spend a lot of time outdoors like me, I don't get the luxury of completing the work that I'm going to complete right now, which is inconsequential to the knife, in choosing the weather. I want a knife, and when I go to the field, I don't have to concern myself with it. And I told a few of you that bought the knife some of the reasons why I chose AEB-L steel. Obviously, it's a high carbon steel that is stainless, so you have the ability to sharpen it, and it's stainless. One of the main reasons is this: I spend a lot of time outside like this in this kind of weather, and it's the kind of weather that most people go, you know, that sucks. Well, I can't allow myself to think like that. I've got work to do out here, and so my knife is with me to get done what I need to do. So a few years ago, that was actually about 3 years ago now, most of you know I'm an ambassador for LT Wright Knives as well. And so if you're not aware, one of the things that comes from being an ambassador is they will send you several knives so that you can show people what sort of knives are available. So they sent me a bunch of knives several years ago, and I've bought several just because, hey, I love their knives. They're all good choices. And I was training a bunch of DEA agents, again, a few years ago, and it rained like this. I don't know if you can get the full spectrum of what's going on here, but it is, man, it is pissing the rain right now. It rained like this for about 8 days. We were training these DEA agents in backcountry skills, and I was part of a cadre. It wasn't like I was teaching them the whole time. I was teaching backcountry survival, disaster readiness, man tracking, and gear usage. So, long time ago, we set this gear set up for them, for both their special response team, which they call the personal recovery unit, as well as the regular DEA agents that get deployed to work through disaster. Now, with that said, one segment of class that I teach is choosing a good knife. And when I do that section of class, we either have a table or I set up on the tailgate of my truck and lay out about, I don't know, 30 or 40 knives, just like I do in our regular survival classes for those of you who have attended. And It's a class that lasts about 2 hours because I go through steels, tempering, tool selection, as far as grinds, points, handle material, sheath material, and on and on and on. All the things that make up knives. So if you want an idea on what I teach in that class, then pick up my second book, Ultimate Wilderness Gear. I think it's chapter 2. The whole chapter is about knives. And that's where that information is the foundation of what I teach in that DEA class. So with that said, 2 hours in rain like this, knives laid on the tailgate of my truck. There is no cover, there is no shelter. It's a backcountry skills class, prepping these guys and gals for responding to disaster like this. You know where I'm going, right? About an hour into class, every knife that I had that had high carbon content had surface rust on it. All of them. Now, after teaching that class, I had to basically go teach another section and left all the knives out so the students could come in and check them later that night. But after that hour of instruction, I came back, immediately wiped down all the knives, oiled them up, and put them in my toolbox so they get out of the rain. So, with that said, every one of those knives have surface rust that cannot be removed. Now, don't get me wrong. Surface rust is not going to hurt the functionality of a blade. However, if we can avoid it and still have the same steel consistency with a knife that'll do the same thing, basically sharpen just as well, stay sharpened just as well as function the same, then why not do it? So yeah, that's why we chose AEB-L steel upon the recommendation. Check it out. This is what I'm out doing. Looking for rubs and scrapes. I'm out and I'm setting up I got some kids that are gonna hunt on this. This is not my property. Some kids that are gonna hunt on this property. And I'm finding the scrape lines so I can help the hunters that are bringing these kids in to put them where they're gonna be able to get a deer. I love helping hunters be able to get deer. Particularly new hunters, stuff of that nature. So a few days out from modern gun season for kids, and I'm out here setting these kids up for success. So with that said, that was a rub back there, by the way, if you're not familiar with them. That's why we chose AEB-L steel. Talked to LT, didn't know what it was when he first told me about it. And then upon the research, after he told me, hey, this is what you need to do, I jumped in, both feet, love it. Here it is, you all. It's out here. I could put it down in this mud, could do whatever I wanted to with it, and leave it there for a month of Sundays, and come back, and that knife's still gonna be solid as a rock, no surface rust, sharp as a razor, and be ready to rock and roll. Hey, thanks for your support so much for buying this knife. I think I'm very pleased that you've jumped on this train with me. This is going to be a fantastic blade. More to come. Hey, while I'm out here, I'll show you some things that this knife is good for finding dry material for fire building. I want to make a separate video, but I got to thinking I might just use today to do that as well. So here's a few things to keep in mind. So these dead standing snags of trees are great places to come up and find dead punky wood in them, like what I'm finding right here. So one of the things that I'm sure a lot of people are concerned with is the length of this blade, and that it's not going to be great and could be dangerous to be utilized as a pry. I agree. Unless you know what you're doing, I mean, come on. I'm not gonna go digging into a piece of oak with this thing, but underneath here, and I know you can't feel it, but all this is dry material for building punky wood for fire building material. Great stuff. I can scrape. I can use both hands on this, which I can't do because I'm holding the knife at the same time, to scrape and get small slivers of material here. I can dig in here and get really dry material down in. Let's move on and see what else. This is a maple tree that has fallen. You can see all this Trametes versicolor, which is turkey tail mushroom. Fantastic medicinal mushroom. But one of the things we can do is get inside here and start again getting into punky wood. Here's the beautiful thing. This bark, laying this knife down so you can see it a little bit. This bark is soaking wet, and these mushrooms are indicator that this is staying fairly moist, and that's because of the surroundings here. You'll notice that there's no Trametes versicolor turkey tail mushroom down here on this end. Well, that's because this stays drier simply because it gets more sunlight. Now you dig in here, what you're finding with that white stuff is the mycelium, which is the root system. You get in here, you can see this better. The root system of this mushroom. Yeah, it's still hard to see. But all this material right here is dry. It'll be even drier down here where the mushroom is not. So when I see a dead tree like this and I want to harvest material from it, then I'll go down here where I'm not seeing the mushroom, because it's going to be much drier, because mushrooms need a fair amount of moisture to exist. So yeah, as I dig in here, you'll start seeing other mushroom species, fungi species that are down in here. These are indicators that things are staying moist here. So with that said, if I want to dig in and even use this again as a draw knife, then what I'm doing here, and again, I'm doing this in one hand. I would normally grab up there at the top of the blade with the tip and actually use this as a draw blade, draw knife. But that piece that I just skinned off there, right there, that's all dry, woody material. So if I need to build a fire out here in the rain, it'd be a good choice. Moving on. So you can't beat this next one with a stick. Pun intended, right? Yeehaw! So what we have here is a dead cedar tree. I break it, it's eastern red cedar. You'll notice the red tinge on the heartwood and including the cambium layer of this tree. Fantastic. Not really the cambium as much on this one because it's conifer, but that's a lesson for another day. But one of the things that we can do, let me get the camera turned around. What we can do here is, let me get in position. So this is the outer bark. So because this tree is dead, it doesn't hurt it to scrape on this as much as I want to. This wet bark still has the resin in it. Look at that. This is like gold, you all. I mean, I pulled off a chunk right here. I can do that with my fingernails. Don't need the knife. But if I have the knife, why not use it? And there we have the under part that again is dry. And this dry part that's right here is going to be a very fantastic source. Watch this. Yeah, that's about a 10-foot piece of bark that I just tore off. So yeah, by tearing that off, I can then take that. When I get a fire started, I can still put that on there on the fire. With that resin, it's still going to be more likely to catch, more so than other deciduous choices like oaks and beeches and stuff of that nature. So yeah, this has turned into a hodgepodge of lessons, but check this out. You have, oh man, you have a tulip poplar tree right here. See that? bubbles that are forming, that's because something on the inside of that tree is dead. So you have the bark, which is the outer protector of the tree. Below that you have the cambium layer, which is the layer where basically there's two layers of the cambium layer, and one of them takes water from and the energy gathered through photosynthesis through the leaves, passes it down the tree. The other one is the layer in which the root system gathers nutrition from the soil and passes it up the tree. So fantastic thing to know, because that tree is in the process of dying. So sometimes you'll see that on an oak species. And if you remember that, or save it in your Gaia GPS app, where you have a folder with nothing but possibilities for mushrooms, if you come back to an oak tree where you've seen that this time of year, next year, very likely you'll find chicken of the woods there. And because chicken of the woods is such a scrumptious mushroom, then you have a good opportunity to find some food. Either commit it to memory or save it in your GPS. Your choice. Last one, because I just wanted to talk about the benefits of having stainless steel, but because I'm out, I wanted to share this with you. Look at this tree. Another dead snag. Another fantastic opportunity to dig in here. This, you all, again, I know you can't feel it, but that is powder dry. So I can dig in here with my knife. I can dig in here with my hands. And I've got a ton of literal powder dry material for a tinder bundle. This is the kind of stuff, you all, gotta be frank with you right here. Gonna be frank and honest with you, all right? This is the sort of stuff that is maddening to me when it comes to the bushcraft survival community. You've got these guys that go out and they take a stick, talk about the one stick fire method, and they make all the materials they need from one stick. I get that, I do. But really, more than anything, that's arts and crafts. You can do that with the knife that you've purchased, and man, I can't thank you enough, but you can also walk around and find the materials you need and never use your knife, okay? So Craig, why should I buy the knife? Well, I want you to buy the knife, right? Yeah, I'm making some money on it, no doubt about it, but you're getting a knife, and here's what you're also getting that your typical person that buys a knife does not get. You're getting me. I've got 50 years of experience out here. I didn't start doing this a decade ago because some TV star told me I should and I thought it was cool. I'm doing this because this has been my life. This is who I am. I'm a woodsman. I'm not a survivalist. Can't stand that word, really. I'm not a prepper. I'm a woodsman. Yes, I am a survivalist and a prepper, but I'm a woodsman's first. I know how to walk in the rain and build a fire. Not because it's cool, not because I'm recording a video for YouTube or TV or whatever, but because that has been a way of life for me. And when you support me by coming to a class, when you support me by sharing my videos on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, particularly when you take your hard-earned dollars, close to three. Hey, so yeah, I'm out of breath because I'm going uphill. Woo, man. So check it out. There's going to be two intros to this video. This one, as well as where I start what I thought was going to be the video, because I started making a video just talking about AEB-L steel, and because I absolutely positively love getting outdoors in the rain, I went ahead and started talking about some other stuff. So be ready for that as it comes along. I really appreciate everybody that supported these initial purchases. Golly, I can't thank you enough. So I want to give you as much of me as I can. So there's a bunch at the end of this video on fire starting and stuff as well. Not on actually fire starting, but how to find wood and proper material in this weather. I'm going to do a dedicated video later on, but just be aware it's at the end of this video. Thanks.